Hey guys, this is Justin from Learn to Crypto, my first podcast, and today just talking about cryptocurrency and the fact that it's here. The point of this is just going to be basically to talk about cryptocurrency, like what it is and why I'm interested in it. So I think that it's undoubtedly an upcoming industry that for me is fun, fascinating, and it can be highly profitable. By definition, there's a few different definitions. One of them being it's a digital asset that's tradable. It's a digital form of money that's built on a blockchain technology. And there's another working definition that does work, in my opinion. It's a form of payment that can circulate without the need for a central monetary authority such as a government or a bank. So clearly that definition is a little bit more on the side of talking about no authority needed. It is true that there's no central monetary authority needed, but a lot of things around crypto, just in general, there should be a lot more explanations, I feel personally, because as you dive into this, you learn that it's not at face value how it kind of comes across by definition. Like talking about cryptocurrency itself, you just think, okay, I have a coin. I can, by the first definition, I can just trade it. It's an asset. It's existing online. So even the second definition, you can circulate it and you don't need a central monetary authority. So it's troublesome just looking at it face value. I'll go into why. So the different types of cryptocurrency can be like NFT, which is I'm not going to go into like every single definition of everything in this specific episode, just disclaimer, but NFT, non-fungible token, DeFi, so decentralized finance. It could be a utility token, so used for transactional stuff, which is kind of, or transactional purposes, which is kind of the second definition that I said, or store of value. So the main cryptocurrency definition that I think of myself is just that it's a coin that you're able to exchange. It can be coming into new formats in the future that are more popular. So NFTs are popping up. You can buy art, trade that. Is that a cryptocurrency? Some people say yes, some people say no. My kind of output is just really just think of it as cryptocurrency can be like a coin that can be traded. There has to be either a decentralized organization that creates it. So a bunch of people that don't really have a specific company behind them. Or it could be a company or a few companies. It just really does depend. So there's tens of thousands of cryptocurrencies out there. They'll have their different purposes. I think that you should just understand that it's online tradable secured asset, secured in the sense of the traceability of it. So if you, for example, give somebody a $5 bill and they go to the supermarket, they purchase some milk, and then that $5 gets stored in the cash register. You see that $5 be pulled back out and given as change later when somebody exchanges a 20 because they only bought a chocolate bar. So then that person has $5. So we don't really know, where that $5 has been, and we can trace where it was printed if it's legitimate from the government, but we don't know whose hands it's been in, etc. So on the blockchain, every time it gets exchanged, there's a record of that, and people around the world are able to verify it. So in that sense, it's secure. So I think it's best to really focus on the different types of cryptocurrencies, and then I'll just talk a little bit about what the hell does this mean between, if I'm more of on a low income side, a medium income side, and a high income side. Why do I even bother caring about cryptocurrency? Because for me, that's really what it is. People are asking, well, what do I do with $1,000? What do I do with $50,000? What do I do with 100,000 or 500,000? What would anybody really do with that with cryptocurrency? So you have a lot of options, and that's why in this intro we're just kind of going to keep it a little basic. So first off, if you really look at cryptocurrency in terms of the NFT space, so there's art, there's validating stuff. You can basically use it to buy and sell digital art, which is great. Won't go too much into it. I've done it myself. It's pretty fun. I find that considering you really want to do your research no matter what, in general. And for myself, going with like companies that I feel are just so reputable, and the reasons why they're releasing it, the price, all that kind of stuff, the market. You really want to make sure you're solid on all of that. The NFT itself is a secure validation, like nobody's able to copy that NFT. You can't screenshot it, etc. It's able to be verified, but how you store it and where you store it that's where the security, you have to be very careful, because people keep saying secure. Well, people are still getting hacked. They're getting hacked and they're losing this stuff majority of the time because people are gaining access to their passwords to, this kind of stuff, or there's certain email scams, phone scams, etc. So there's a lot more theft going on now, I would imagine. So on the NFT side, it's really fun. You can purchase some digital art. So I purchased a Batman. It's really cool. You can kind of like put him in a room, expand him, move him around, take a picture with him, a selfie, whatever you want to do. So you can buy and sell this Batman, for example, on the marketplace, and sometimes the price goes up, sometimes the price goes down. For Batman, for example, price has been going up so far, which is good. And then on the DeFi side, so cryptocurrency on decentralized finance. What people are trying to do is offer a lot of different banking products, finance products for cryptocurrency. And I'll expand on this further in more episodes, of course, but just the basics. Decentralized finance lending, right? So if you go to the bank, you have a company, you have an idea, anything like that. For example, today I saw an article. There was a person who had an idea for a business, and they literally put out a 10-minute pitch online, and they received $100,000 in seed funding through cryptocurrency coins. So people put up, said, here's 100 grand worth of cryptocurrency coins. Use this to start your idea. And the guy only has an idea. He doesn't even have like this thorough plan. He's got nothing. So decentralized finance, one of the things is, if a bank won't fund you, and I kind of do, I do really like this thought, but the bank, they have to go through their motions. If they don't want to fund you for whatever reasons there are, the world, people around the world, you don't know. There may be a handful of people or tens of thousands of people that will put their money together to fund your idea. So decentralized finance, that's kind of where that's coming in. And it's more and more becoming popular to fund projects and such like that, especially on large scale. So there's billions of dollars being put into that. Very cool. Love it. The third one is utility tokens. So utility, so exchanging back and forth, right? As like we kind of view currency. So that's pretty obvious. So things that are getting traded very quickly. So if you have a cryptocurrency that's getting traded very quickly, something that's cheap to trade and something that's fast, that can get verified very fast, is very important for a good utility token. So that's very basic understanding. The store of value side of things, where it's like Bitcoin or maybe Ethereum, those are the very popular ones right now. So people are basically looking to put their money into Bitcoin, have it go up, and over time, at some point, cash out potentially, or just lend against it or something like that. Right now, in terms of the banks, they're not super happy to lend against your Bitcoin holdings if you're just X, Y, and Z person that I know of anyway. I think that the bigger companies like MicroStrategy, they've purchased so much Bitcoin and it's gone up a lot in value. I don't know it for sure, but of course I'm heavily assuming that they're able to, just lend against that, right? So if they have whatever, let's say $7 billion worth of Bitcoin, well, I can only imagine the bank's willing to lend against that because investors have put their money into it, it's grown in value, and there's a lot more security for them to go after as opposed to kind of Joe Schmo going to the bank and saying, hey, I hold 100 grand worth of Bitcoin or something. Can you give me a loan for 50 grand against this? And now you have 150 because you have your $100,000 in Bitcoin and then 50,000 in cash to spend on something. I just think that it's MicroStrategy probably has some kind of play there with that, but it's good for them. The other play for them too with companies that are on the stock exchange like that, like MicroStrategy with Michael Saylor, is when their stock goes up, they can lend against that as well. So if they buy Bitcoin, it goes up, it inadvertently sometimes can of course affect the stock price, then they lend against the stock price. So it's all kind of full circle there. I think myself it's a little concerning to go all in on one particular coin, but clearly they have a plan. They've been executing it, and it's been paying off so far, seemingly. So I think that's really cool. So that's kind of the four different types of cryptocurrency, how you can view cryptocurrency. So NFTs, decentralized finance, utility, and kind of storing of value. So on the low side of investing, how do I kind of look at this? Well, you really have to do your research. There is an astronomical amount of people that have come out in the news, whether it's true or not, and said, well, I've only put in $100, $1,000, and now I've made, a few million or whatever. Perhaps it's true. I mean, you could look at some of the charts of Shiba or some of these coins that don't really have a lot of quote unquote utility, so to speak, and see that if that person actually did invest at that point, just by sheer calculation, you can see that they've probably ended up with what they're saying, maybe. But on the low side, you have to really kind of pick, if you're wanting to be aggressive and make that kind of investment on something that's newer, that can go up faster, quicker, or something that's more secure, that's been around for longer, I guess, in a sense of saying secure. Nothing's ever secure. But Bitcoin, Ethereum, that's been around for longer. If you have more of, wait and hold, or, kind of middle strategy, there's really cool, DeFi things where you can do, like I mentioned, about people raising capital, yes, but you can also put up your cryptocurrency and it gets held for a few months, and then you get basically a guaranteed percent back in addition to your original investment that you put up, which is really cool. I think like the highest percentages typically are around 14% on that, so 14% APR. And once again, you have to do your research on that. You have your kind of different picks. If you have $1,000 or something, you have to kind of pick where you want to go. On the middle side of things, you can kind of diversify. You can go super crazy with some money. You can go in the middle, and then you can go safe. And then on the high end, I mean, people are playing the market with hundreds of millions of dollars, if not even billions. So you really can pick which way you want to go. For me, cryptocurrency, I think that it's exciting. You can see the different options that's in front of you. That's what really excites me. I'm not going to talk really about my experiences. I've had lots of them. I'll touch on it in the future, but it's really not important to focus on me, myself. It's more about, talking about the definitions and the facts and understanding what's going on. Lots of people have made money in this space. I've made money in this space, but your own journey needs to be your journey. It needs to be hopefully a very educated journey, and so that's what I'm looking to help with. Obviously, as a disclaimer, like, I'm not a financial advisor. All the opinions are my own and based off of research that I've done. So always consult your own professional financial advisor before investing your own money. And kind of pick your goals. I think to end off, for me, when I first invested, I thought it was really fun. And I thought it was exciting. It's a new technology, and that's why I'm doing all this. But one thing I kind of took on was, okay, I need to figure out what's the point. I'm not concerned about low, middle, high amount of money that I'm investing. If I put in money, what the hell do I want back from this, really? Because if I put in, $10,000 and it goes down and I'm super disappointed, I have to be ready to lose that money, and but if that $10,000 rocketed, where do I want that $10,000 to end up at? 100,000, 200, a million, 20 million. So that's all going to depend, right? So for me, I had to pick my goals. I've set my money in. I've sometimes tried different things, whether the market's hot or cold. And I've really just had so much fun with it. On the times of the losses, it sucks, and you kind of see, okay, it seems like there's some market manipulation, or COVID's around affecting this. You kind of get down about it. But then for me, myself, I kind of realized, well, this is a kind of ebb and flow of markets, and I kind of see some transitory things between the aspects between the stock market and the cryptocurrency market. I feel that institutions also are kind of seemingly coming in more and more, whether it's ETFs or funds, kind of like index funds, stuff like that. That's coming in more and more. Each country's having its own sort of opinions on things, US being very tough right now. All those things I will talk about in my future podcasts, of course. But I just really pick my goals and kind of just look and not get disappointed to the future. The time will come, and that's all about experience. There's a lot of different players and their strategies, which are super exciting. I love it. Some people say, time in the market, not timing the market. That's true, but it's also been proven wrong quite a few times as well. So you can win with that. You can lose with that as well. You can time the market. When it's just really, really low, you can get in. You're obviously going to have a higher chance of doing well than if you get in when it's a lot higher. So no kidding. Like if everything plummets, it can be a decent entry point. But time in the market, if you've been in for, multiple years, then there's probably a lot of times where you're like, I should have cashed out. You probably could have, if it hit a high and you waited until its next low, seemingly as this market figures itself out, it would have paid off a lot more than if you just held. So that's true for sure, statistically for most coins anyway. So I like both of those strategies, and both of them really, at the end of the day, in my opinion, they're not wrong. Like if you hold your money, that's your own thing. If you want to play it harder, faster, I know people that have done extremely well with that as well too. So I think that kind of covers everything about the basics of cryptocurrency. And once again, always do your own research and have fun with it. If you find that it's not something that you like, or it's kind of frustrating you, my opinion is just, take a break and come back at it. There's tons of people, whether it's me or other people on YouTube or podcasts, that have tons of great opinions as well too. I like researching a bunch of different people and then kind of matching things up, coming up with my own opinion, and then executing and seeing if I'm right and wrong. And hopefully you're more right than wrong, but I think this is really upcoming. And I wish you guys luck. I'll see you in the second episode. Thanks for tuning in.
Also, don't forget to hit that like button, smash it, comment in the section down below what your thoughts were. And also, of course, please please subscribe if you can. It's free and I really appreciate it. Thanks.